Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're looking at the absolute power of incremental persistence, and specifically breaking the mental wall. We've literally all been there, right? Maybe you're training for some intense physical event and you just hit mile 20 of a marathon. Or honestly, maybe you're just staring at a glowing computer screen at 2 a.m. with a massive project deadline hanging right over your head. Whatever the situation is, you hit that point of absolute, uncompromising exhaustion. The tank feels completely, 100% empty. But what if I told you that this feeling of total depletion is actually just a carefully constructed illusion? Today, we're going to dissect the concepts from the Just One More motivational framework, and we're going to look exactly at how you can completely shatter that illusion.
Okay, let's dive into this. The framework highlights a really specific universal sensation. Your mind is screaming that it's over. And that word screaming is just perfectly chosen in the source material, because it completely validates the intense, almost painful reality of wanting to quit. When you hit that extreme exhaustion at 2 a.m., it is definitely not a quiet whisper. Nope, it's a deafening alarm bell going off in your head. It feels entirely physical, and it feels entirely undeniable. You feel it right in your bones, don't you? That desire to stop is just overwhelming, and it really feels like a strict biological absolute. But, as we'll see, that screaming voice, it's not an objective reporter of your true limits.
But here is where the tension really escalates. On one side, you've got this overwhelming feeling, it's over. But on the flip side, you have the staggering reality. Your mind is a liar. This completely flips the script. Your brain, in this specific scenario of extreme effort, is actually the ultimate antagonist. The source material is absolutely adamant about this point. The overwhelming sensation that you're totally done is just a psychological trick. It is not a biological limit. Your mind is actively, literally lying to you. It's fabricating this sense of total failure simply because it's desperately looking for the easy way out. It wants comfort. It just wants you to stop.
So, to really grasp this, we need to formally name the problem. What you're experiencing is known as the mental wall. This is the psychological barrier, where the brain falsely claims you are done simply because it is looking for the easy way out. Notice the analytical precision of the text there. The brain falsely claims. This completely grounds that intense, crazy emotion of exhaustion into a clearly defined, manageable concept. Once you recognize that the wall isn't made of some physical, muscular limitation, but rather of pure psychological deception, well, you suddenly gain the power to dismantle it. You aren't fighting your body's true limits anymore. You're fighting a false claim.
So the crucial point is the tactic itself. How do we actually fight back against a brain that's actively lying to us? Well, the answer provided by the source is this highly actionable method called incremental persistence. And the beauty of this is it isn't about conjuring up massive, heroic amounts of willpower all at once. I mean, let's be real, that is way too overwhelming when your mind is already screaming at you to stop. Instead, incremental persistence is this precise, surgical strategy used to short-circuit the brain's deception. It's really all about tricking the brain right back, breaking that massive, seemingly insurmountable challenge down into incredibly tiny, completely undeniable fractions of effort.
Let's look at what incremental actually looks like in practice. Step 1, one more rep. Step 2, one more hour. Step 3, one more day. See, you don't tell your exhausted brain that you have 50 more reps to go or, 10 more hours of work to do. The liar in your head, it'll immediately shut that down and force you to quit. Instead, you isolate the effort entirely. Just one more rep. That's it. When that's done, just one more hour. And then, just one more day. The tempo of your effort just becomes this relentless, rhythmic cadence. One more, one more, one more. You build absolutely unstoppable momentum through these tiny micro-commitments, and you completely bypass the brain's panic response.
Which brings us to the actual mechanics of beating the liar. First, you just refuse to quit for one more hour. You are actively tricking the brain into doing just one more rep. And then the final point here is honestly the most important part of the entire framework. Wait for the breakthrough. By applying this strategy, you practically short-circuit the brain's attempt to find the easy way out. The breakthrough happens because you stayed in the fight just long enough for that false alarm to subside. The mind suddenly realizes you aren't listening to its lies. The screaming finally stops, and then boom, you break through the mental wall into a totally new reserve of energy. And this brilliantly illustrates the core, incredibly empowering message of our source material. You don't need a miracle to win. Honestly, let that sink in for a second. When we look at people who achieve massive goals or who push past incredible barriers, we so often think they have superhuman strength or that they were somehow just handed a miracle. But the reality, as we've unpacked it today, is so much more accessible than that. Ultimate success is not a miracle. It's simply a series of small, persistent choices. It is the stubborn refusal to quit for just one more hour, compounded over time. You already have exactly what it takes to win.
So we arrive at the final question for you. You now know the mechanics, you know the mind is a liar, you know exactly what the mental wall is, and you know exactly how to use incremental persistence to tear the whole thing down. You do not need a miracle. So, what is your just one more today? Where in your life is your mind screaming for the easy way out right now? I challenge you to apply this literally today. Trick your brain. Do one more rep. Go for one more hour. I'm so glad we could explore this incredibly powerful concept together. Until next time, keep learning, keep pushing, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.